The biggest project you have in your life is working on yourself. There's nothing that's more powerful that can change your life like working on yourself. Work on yourself and become a better you.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where personal development is of the essence and is the foundation of everything we're trying to build. I always talk a lot about personal development, and maybe some people wonder why. And I hope what I'll share today, I hope a piece of what I share today, a piece of my story, will maybe give you guys maybe a perspective of where I come from and why I love to do what I do, why I love to share, why I love to motivate people, why I love to think that what I might say might spark something in someone else. And I really hope that it helps. But before that, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, very, very important, guys, and hit the notification button so that you don't miss out on future videos. You don't know what you might hear and what fire it might ignite in you in one of the videos, so please don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, so today, like I said, I'll be sharing my story. I'll be sharing a part of my journey, and it will be mostly about entrepreneurship, but it's just basically my story in essence. And I remember when I was growing up, I've always been in love with selling, guys. I've always been in love with selling things. And when I was in grade 1, I remember I used to sell sweets. So I'd go to the tuck shop, right, at school, and I'd buy 10-cent sweets. And when I'd get in class, people would be out of sweets. So I'd sell the sweets for 20 cents. Yeah, so I'd do that. And in those small things, I didn't know back then, but I was learning basic things, basic principles of trading, and it was good back then. But I was a naughty child, and I didn't even understand what I was doing. But I was just trying to make some extra money so that after school I could buy anything I wanted to buy because I had extra money, and that thing carried on. It carried on to a point where I remember when I was in grade 7. Yes, when I was in grade 7, in December, I started going into selling fireworks at home, and I remember I made a lot of money. That's when I really, like, for the first time ever selling things, I made a lot of money. And I was intrigued by the fact that I can actually buy things and then I can sell them and make so much money. I didn't know, of course, how much it was, but it was a lot of money back then. And in grade 8, that is when things changed for me, when I got to high school. So when I got to high school, what happened is that my sister went to tertiary. My sister had just matriculated, so she went to tertiary, and obviously, the financial situation at home changed, and it required of me to step up, to try other things. And I remembered how much I used to enjoy selling, so I was like, you know what, I'll start selling at school. I'd start selling at school, and I'll make extra money. And I'll be able to have some money. I'll be able to maybe help out where I can, if I can, because I didn't really know if I'd make the money, kind of money I ended up making. And I started selling snacks. They used to call them jiggies. Yeah, I used to sell that, and stock sweets. So every day I'd stock up, and I'd go to school every single day with a bag. I had like a purple bag, and I'd put my stock inside. I'd go to school, and I'd sell, I'd sell like crazy, but there was only one of me. And I remember every Friday I used to go to the bank, not the bank, but rather the post office, because I opened a bank at an account at the post office. So I'd save money every Friday day, and sometimes I'd save like 250, sometimes I'd save 300 Rand, depending on how much profit I made, but it was never anything less than 250. So in a month, I'd make something like 1,000 Rand from my profit. And, it started getting very serious. This thing started growing, and it got to a point where I realized that, I cannot sell alone. Whenever I sell alone, I don't make that much money, and I wanted to make more money. So I started employing my friends, some of my friends and some of my peers, and telling them that, I'll give you this snacks and stock sweets, and you can sell for me, and then every day I can pay you money, or every Friday I can pay you something, and you don't really have to go around and sell like I do, but whenever people want, they'll know that they'll get from you. And I didn't even know that was like a mini franchise. I didn't know, but in essence, that is what I was doing. And I started making so much money that I could save like a lot of money in a week, to a point where in a week I'd make over 1,000 rand, and I'd save up, and at the end of the month I'd have something like 5,000, 6,000 in my account, and that money just kept on accumulating. But what the other beautiful thing that happened is that at home, my parents no longer used to buy things from me, like from your clothes, your toiletries. They never used to buy me that anymore. But the one thing that I also loved was that my sister at school, I could also sometimes maybe send her airtime money, just to help out. And it really felt good. And I think that is where I started falling in love with selling. And this continued from grade 8 to grade 9. And in grade 10, I remember, in grade 10, I stopped selling now, because in grade 10, you start choosing your subjects. And my father, sat me down and told me that, what, you've got to stop selling. You got to focus on studying and, just work hard. Forget about the selling thing. You've got to be serious now. Hey, but I ended up being so broke. Yeah, I started being broke. I didn't have money anymore. So yeah, but I studied hard, and my marks, started to improve a bit. But I missed that thrill, that selling, that energy. And in grade 12, fast forward in grade 12, I used to sell muffins with my friends as well. And we used to make a lot of money from it, but it took a lot of our time, because it takes like a lot of time to bake muffins. So it took a lot of our time, and we didn't have time to study, because there's something called an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is that when you do something, you risk losing something, doing something else. So when we were busy baking and making money, we were losing time that we could have been investing in studying and getting better marks. So we decided that, what, this is not worth it. Let's rather study and we'll get good marks. So that's what we did. And all of us passed grade 12. We did well. And I ended up going to tertiary in 2016. And when I got to tertiary, like, my first year was a very difficult year, because like I didn't have funding at school. I was studying physiology and I didn't have funding. But I learned so many things along the way. I was always the quiet guy, because it was rough. I was just barely surviving, and it was difficult to go through that year. And in 2016, as a result, I ended up starting an organization, an NPO by the name of Ignite Guruman, which was there to help students, or rather prospective students that are going to tertiary, to get access to information, to be able to know, what bursaries out there, what they're getting themselves into, and just for them to get mentoring to prepare themselves to go to university, because I really felt like I was really unprepared and I didn't have access to certain information. And that is how Ignite Guruman came, and it was just a beautiful thing. And that is how I actually started my social entrepreneurship journey. And I met so many great people in Ignite and through Ignite that I worked with. And it was just something so fulfilling that I did. And I really loved doing it. And it's quite an amazing journey that I had, another side of entrepreneurship. But even when I was studying in 2017, I was also always thinking about what could I sell, what could I do. And when I'd go home, sometimes I'd sell meat at social events, at night with my friend, and we'd also make money from that. And in 2017, I also got a bursary. By the way, I got a bursary, a Othusitse bursary, and life was good. But something very bad happened. I started losing focus. And as a result, I failed, one of my majors in my second year, and it was not nice. In 2018, I lost my bursary because I'd failed one of my majors. But that was also a blessing. Because I started discovering myself. I started discovering who I actually am and what I actually loved. And I realized that my passion laid in entrepreneurship. My passion laid in these small things I was doing. Things just started to add up. And I decided to drop out in 2018. And I was like, I'm going to chase entrepreneurship. And that's where I left Bloemfontein and I came to Cape Town. And it was not an easy decision. Even my parents, they didn't take it well. Of course, they didn't take it well. And I came to Cape Town, and they were also at the time in a very bad financial situation. But I came to Cape Town and I told myself, I want this thing and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to push this thing. And I got accepted at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology to study entrepreneurship there. And I started my first year in 2019. So right now I'm doing my final year. And it was a journey also on its own, because when I got here in 2019, like, I didn't have funding as well. This thing just comes up again. I'm like, how am I gonna survive? How am I gonna pay for accommodation? How am I gonna buy food? How am I gonna buy toiletries? How am I gonna travel? All these things. But when I had dropped out before, like after I had dropped out in Bloemfontein, I went home and I also started selling like bags and clothes. I'd stock up clothes and I would sell them again. So I registered a business by the name of Othusitse Beauty, and I started selling like leather bags, and I used to make like money from that. I got investors, and it was just like quite interesting, and I grew in the process of that. But what happened was that, like, I started, because of my financial situation, right, I started mismanaging like my funds of the business for my personal problems, and the business fell apart. And I learned from that, like, one thing I learned from that is that sometimes you have to have ways in which decisions that you make, they'll impact your life. And some of the decisions I made were wrong decisions, but I learned a lot from those decisions. And I continued with Othusitse Beauty in 2019, and in 2020, I was like, what, I'm gonna hold first with the business, because I need to get myself together. But the one thing I loved about getting into 2020 was that 2019 was really difficult for me. That was the most difficult year of my life, I won't lie. And how I got through it, I'm not sure. But when God's got you. And my parents also, rather my mother, was there for me, like, through and through. And my girlfriend also, she was there for me. But it was very, very difficult year. I made a lot of bad decisions in the year, financial decisions, friendship decisions. And my character was tested. I went through a lot of things in 2019. And when 2020 came, I realized that I needed to think about my life and where it's going, and the things that I must do, and what I needed to change. Because for things to change, I really had to change, because I was making a lot of bad decisions. And COVID-19 hit. That was a blessing for me. I don't know about other people, but that was a blessing for me, because I got time to think about the things that really mattered, what I wanted to do, where I'm going. But in the process of that, I kept trying other businesses, trying that, trying this, and I'll say to you that I've tried a lot of things. Some of the things I've even forgotten that I've tried selling them, or I've tried pursuing them, because I've always believed that one day I will find that one thing, and I'll never know if I don't try. But that thing also came with, I didn't have the patience to see something work because of my financial situation. And that was always a battle. I'd want things to work quickly. I didn't have the patience to build things. And with business, no business becomes an empire overnight. Empires, they take time to build. You have to invest a lot of resources, a lot of effort, and overnight success takes time. That's just the truth. Things don't just magically happen. One of the biggest companies doesn't become the biggest companies overnight or over a year. It takes time. Because a lot of things go into building a business. And back then I didn't have that patience. Back then I wanted to be this guy, wanted to do this, and it had to work now. But also, as a result of the decisions I made, I became a jack of all trades and a master of none. I was doing everything. And no one is born to do everything. You are born to do something, but you're not born to do everything. Otherwise, how many lives do you have? How much time do you have if you're going to do everything? So this year in 2021, I sat down and I also thought of how I have been spreading myself thin, and being involved in a lot of things and not seeing some of the things I do grow and become bigger than they need to be, or bigger than they are, and them not succeeding the way I want to is because I didn't put in enough time and resources in like one thing or two things or just three things, and just fully focus on that. And this year I decided I'm gonna choose three things and I'm gonna focus full on. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna attack. I'm just gonna focus on these three things. And that's what I've been doing. And when you start doing that, you start seeing results. Some results are not immediate, but some are immediate, and some will take time still. I know that I want to go through this entire year just focusing on three things, and these three things are my school and my Herbalife business, and also my YouTube channel. So those are the three things that I'm really hammering on. But this now, and all these things that I've learned, they didn't come overnight. I didn't decide that I want to be a motivational speaker overnight. I didn't decide that I wanted to start a YouTube channel overnight. I didn't decide that I have to focus. I didn't decide that I have to set goals. I didn't decide that I have to have a vision board or a vision just overnight. It didn't just decide. It was because of all these things that happened along the way, and all the people I met, and all the things I did, and all the lessons I learned through the journey. And that is why I love sharing so much. That is why I love sharing part of the things I do, because most of the things that I've learned, if not all of them, I learned them from other people. And that is the magic and the essence of life. We are here to learn from others. We are here to give to others. We are here, to build each other. And that has always been my dream. I've always been a person that, when I leave this world, I want this world to be better than I found it. And that has always been my dream. And, with the bits and pieces of the things I do, I always hope and pray that they add up and become, bigger than myself. Because I've always believed that if my dream is not bigger than me, then it does not serve me. If my dream is, not bigger than, my thoughts or the things that I can imagine, then it doesn't serve me, It has to be so big that other people have to come even after I die, to continue my dream, It has to be generational. So that is the essence of how my journey has been. But it has been a journey of just learning and going through a lot of things and pain, and through all these things, this one thing that I had of going through so many financial hurdles, it taught me, it forced me to educate myself financially. It forced me to go in a direction that I have to know these things. I need to know how these things work. I need to push to become better at doing this, because I saw now what are the things that I lacked. What are my blind spots? Something that I learned from a friend of mine. What are my blind spots? And through all these things, I am who I am today, and I continue to be who I am. But the one thing I always know is that I'm still learning, and I'm still on my journey, and it's been a beautiful journey. So guys, whoever you are and wherever you are, just know that life is a journey, and you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be be open to getting challenges, because challenges is how we grow. With no challenges, no growth. If you're in your comfort zone, no growth. If you don't step out of your comfort, there won't be no growth. And you need to try things out. You need to try things out. You need to go out there and meet people. You need to go out there and do things. Get something done. Do something. Don't just sit there and criticize other people. Stand up and do something. Change the world. Change yourself. Change the game for your family. Do something with your life, because your life is such a beautiful gift. And the essence of why I really started this YouTube channel is to inspire other people, to make the journey better for other people, because there might be someone out there that's going through something that I've already been through, and through sharing and through showing them some things and through telling them some of the things that I went through that can help, I believe that can better their journey. Because if you're going somewhere, if you have a destination, you want to talk to people that have been there so that they can help you get there, so that they can show you a better path to take, so that they can tell you what to avoid. And that is basically mentorship. And that is basically being, having being directed to a certain direction, but obviously it's your vision and it's your journey and it's your destination. But it's always about giving back and loving other people and caring for others. And I just hope that this gives you an essence of why I really started this YouTube channel and who I am as a person. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you took something from what I shared today, and peace to everyone out there who's trying, who's hustling, who's working hard, who's grinding, and just keep going. Things will connect. It will all make sense. In the end, it'll all make sense. Thank you.